Hi, and welcome to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Animal wrangling for us, as always, is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder. And lately we've been having at least one cat on the show because we do have a fair amount of cats on the floor. But we're back to showcasing all dogs today because our dog population, after kind of going down a little bit, has started to rise again. We want to make sure that we're getting these guys into their forever homes as quickly as possible, because being in a kennel for a lot longer can be really detrimental to some of the dogs. And our first dog today is the youngest dog that we have on the adoption floor. This is Oliver. He's about 5 months old now, and obviously he's a super cute puppy, and people enjoy puppies, but puppies can be a lot of work. You now have one of those yourself, so you can attest to that. They don't know anything. They're completely reliant on us to teach them the behaviors that we want them to have, to house train them and teach them that it's not okay to chew on the furniture and things like that. So you want to make sure that if you're interested in a dog like Oliver, that you are really committed to providing them with the training that they have. We see dogs coming back fairly recently as today, because people don't want to invest in training them. And it's, whether it's a young dog like Oliver or an older dog like some of the other dogs we'll see on the show today, it's really important to understand that there's going to be some level of training and effort and patience and responsibility involved in adding one of these pets to your household. Oliver is obviously super cute. He did spend quite a while in a foster home, so he did learn how to interact with other dogs, how to be in a home environment. He does still need to work on house training, but as you can see already, he knows sit, and he was giving Sean his paw. So he does have some of those foundations, but still needs a little bit of consistency once he's moving into a home to finish those things out. He is a shepherd mix, very handsome guy, very playful, full of energy. So you're just making sure that you're prepared for all of those things.
Yeah, so you mentioned commitment, and Oliver definitely needs a committed family that's going to adopt him. Why does he need that larger commitment?
That's right. He does need a larger commitment. When Oliver came in, he was not weight bearing on one of his legs. We don't know why, because he was taken to a Good Samaritan. Good Samaritan took him to care, and he just wasn't putting weight on that. So we didn't know whether we were going to have to amputate the leg or not, what was going on. He did get a surgery called an FHO, which was able to save his leg, but because of the recovery, he actually needs a lot of physical therapy. It's stuff that an owner can do at home, but it is a commitment to getting him back to being a dog that's able to play as he would normally do. You do have to watch for certain things. All of that is detailed in his adoption packet, but he's not a dog that can go to a home where you're not committed to doing that physical therapy, because it could be detrimental to him in the end. And it's not something that he's going to have forever, but for the next several weeks, months, things like that, it is going to be a daily commitment. We actually have a chart on his kennel. He's supposed to get that 1 to 2 times a day, that physical therapy. So he definitely needs an owner that's prepared to do that in the short term, so they can enjoy him and he can be healthy and happy and as playful as he wants to be as he ages and becomes an adult. So if you feel like you are committed and have the time and the patience to provide Oliver not only with the basic manners training and things like that he needs, but that physical therapy, you can give us a call to find out more information about Oliver. You can reach us at 301-600-1546. Our next guest is very excited to be here. This is Amiri, and she is about a year old now, maybe just a little under. She is one of our terrier mixes, and she's a great color. She's a great tan color. And as you can see, again, totally full of energy. If you're looking for a dog that's going to run around with your kids, in the backyard, is going to be able to hang with you when you're out hiking and doing all of those things, she's a dog that's gonna be able to do all of those things. She is recommended for any age children. She's just a lot of energy, but very playful. There's nothing that's aggressive in her play, but she does need to work on where she can put her mouth. She likes to give people kisses. And sometimes, her enthusiasm can lead to like some headbutts and things like that. And she can be a little mouthy, like a lot of young dogs when she's playing, not intending to bite, but just getting so excited, her teeth graze things and stuff like that. But she's a fantastic dog. She did really well on her behavior assessment, in terms of friendliness, reacting well with other dogs. She can be a little difficult to walk because she pulls, but harnesses can help with that, basic manners training, no issues with food, really leans in and enjoys affection and petting, so really great qualities. She did come in with a bit of a skin infection, so a lot of the terrier type dogs tend to have allergies, and some of them are more severe than others. So if you were going to make Amiri part of your family, you might have to consider like the vet costs of making sure that you're taking good care of her skin and allergies to prevent those types of infections. And sometimes it's just a medicated bath, and you can do those things at home on your own. You don't really need to go through the vet's office to do those things. So just making sure that she's maintaining that good health and skin. And she has so many wonderful things that her previous owner did say about her in terms of, riding well in the car and being used to baths and really enjoying play and that she likes to cuddle and she does like to tug. So it's unfortunate that she did end up here.
So as you mentioned, she was surrendered by her owner. Why did they choose to give her up?
So unfortunately, a lot of areas and a lot of facilities, landlords, property owners, HOAs, do not allow pit bull type dogs. And so her owner got her, and then after 3 months, they found out that she had a pit bull type dog, was not allowed to have that in the property where she was living. So as much as, a lot of people love this breed of dog, they can't have them in their home. If you are a person who's thinking about adopting, whether it's Amiri or a pit bull type dog from us or from anyone, making sure that you're checking with your landlord that you can have that type of breed, that type of weight of dog. But also, if you are thinking about moving and you want to know where you can go, you can obviously, talk to the facilities when you're thinking about it, you're doing your walkthroughs. But a lot of the community websites and other animal organizations have lists on their websites where you can actually see what allows what. I think the Humane Society of Frederick County has a list on there, and then our nonprofit group Focus, I believe, also has a list of what facilities and what rental properties are pet friendly, and some of them even go as far to say, yes, you can have cats, or yes, you can. You can have this weight, you can have this type of dog. So using those resources to make sure that you don't end up in a situation like Amiri and her owner, where simply because they weren't allowed to have that breed, she ended up in the shelter. If you know that you can have Amiri in your home and you want to make that step, you can meet her by going online and booking your appointment to visit her at visitfcac.as.me. Our next guest is a dog that you may have seen on the show before, and that's because unfortunately, just a couple of weeks ago, Draco got adopted and then sadly returned. And it happens, but now he's here looking at another opportunity at a forever home, and as sad as we are that he got returned, we're also super excited to see him because everybody here loves Draco. He was in the front office yesterday. He greets everyone who walks in. He's definitely one of my favorite dogs, and he is just the kindest, gentlest, most affectionate dog that we have here right now. His favorite thing is to sit on anything. He likes to sit on laps. He likes to sit on your feet if you're standing. He wants to be in your space. He basically just likes to put his butt on everything. He even likes to poop on trees. So he is a funny guy. He does play with some toys, but more than anything, he just wants to cuddle and be affectionate. I've taken him out to events before, and he just plops on random strangers' laps. So he's a really kind of well-adjusted guy. He doesn't like a lot of loud noises, though. When the other dogs are really going to town barking, it makes him a little bit uncomfortable, which is why he enjoys being up front so much, because it's a little bit quieter there. He does have a basic sit. He does try to give his paw. He walks really nicely on his harness. Without a harness, he does pull quite a bit, but with the harness, he seems to do better. So definitely recommend a harness for him. But if you're just looking for, a super, chill, cuddly guy, he is definitely one to take home. He did go to one of our Peaceable Paws puppy camps. So, he learned some basic manners there. We have all that information so his new owners can follow up and make sure he continues to get those things. But also, those people see hundreds of dogs every year, and they were like, if I was going to take one home, it would be this one. So he's getting, definitely 5-star reviews from people who are super dog savvy and knowledgeable.
So as you mentioned, he was returned. What happened?
So as has been the case with several of our dogs, not just Draco, but also Miles and Dixie, was chasing the cats in the house. It's a fairly natural response when the cats run. It hits that predatory drive thing in the dog and they want to chase. Those are things that you can work on if you're committed to that, in terms of doing the counter conditioning and making sure that you're doing proper introductions. But for the safety of animals, with all of those dogs that got returned for chasing the cats, we just advised that they go to homes without cats moving forward. There was also a minor incident, which we don't tend to have a lot of details on, with a young grandchild in the household. Not any severe bite or anything like that, but we don't know whether it was just play or if the kid was in the dog's face. So for that reason, we did go ahead and change him to 6+, but people who work here have had their kids around him and feel very comfortable because he's just such an easygoing guy. So unfortunately, we don't have more information about that scenario, but we're just going to go ahead and say 6+, so that the kids then have a little bit more of an understanding. Don't get in the dog's face, don't poke him in the ear, those types of things. If you think that this guy is going to be the perfect guy to keep you warm all winter long and even during the summer by cuddling up with you, then you can make an appointment to meet him by going to visit fcac.as.me. People often comment to us that we have a lot of terrier mixes, specifically a lot of pit bull type dogs, but we do have a little bit of a variety right now. We have Trip here, who is a husky mix. We had Oliver, who is a shepherd mix. We also have a couple of hound mixes, and then Milo, who's a Rottweiler mix. So there is a little bit of variety right now if you want to go online and check out what we have available. But we're here to talk about Trip right now. Trip did come to us as a stray, as many of our dogs do. We hold them for 5 days to allow owners a chance to claim them, and when they don't, then we go ahead and either process them and make them available for rescues or for adoption. And Trip has recently become available for adoption. He's this great kind of yellow color with his icy blue eyes. So he's a very attractive dog. The people who processed him, the staff, they say he is super affectionate. They really liked him, and he doesn't seem to have a lot of issues in the kennel. He is very friendly when you approach him. He reacts favorably to other dogs, which is really important. Easy to obtain. Can be a little bit difficult to walk, but most of our dogs are, because unfortunately they don't have a lot of training before they come to us. So working on getting him on that harness, polite leash training. He does know sit already, and as you can see, he was giving Sean his paw. Not great at catching the treats though, which is Sean's hallmark there of the prime dog, right? No issues with food or objects. Really enjoys petting. And they say he's very food motivated, which helps with that training aspect, because if they're willing to work for food, you can get them to do a lot of different things. And sometimes huskies can be a little bit harder to train, so the fact that he's food motivated is going to be super beneficial to whoever goes on and makes him part of their family.
So what's the one thing people should know about huskies if they were thinking about adopting one?
So, there are things like being a little bit more difficult to train and a challenge in that regard, because they are, working dogs. But what I think, most people tend to forget is they think they're really beautiful, but they have a lot of fur. He's definitely some sort of mix, so he's not as fluffy as some of the others that we've had here, but there's going to be a lot of shedding, a lot of maintenance, a lot of brushing. When it gets hot, he's going to lose that coat, so it's going to be even more intense. And a lot of people aren't thinking about those things. But also, huskies are bred for cold weather. So, if you want to be out hiking and going to all the breweries in the summer, not super ideal for your dog that was bred for cold weather, right? It's going to be too hot for him. And if you don't like cold weather, that's when your dog wants to be outside. How many calls do we get in the winter for dogs outside when it's too cold and it's just a husky playing outside? They want to be out when it's nice and cold. So making sure that even though the dog is a beautiful dog, he's kind of fits with your lifestyle is going to be super important, because we don't want him to come back here because he doesn't fit into what you want to do. And we also don't want him to get hurt. Dogs don't regulate body temperature the same way we do. We don't want him to have any type of medical complication because of him being outside in the heat. So just kind of thinking of those types of things. But if you think that you are prepared for all the fur and all things husky, and you want to meet with Trip, then you can book an appointment online by going to visit fcac.as.me. Our next guest is another one of our younger dogs. This is Ghost, and he is about 9 months old, another one of our terrier mixes, known for his kind of wonky ears. A lot of people like that. And we have a couple of dogs right now, Evan being another one of them. They just kind of have like ears that don't know what they're doing. They go whichever direction they feel when the mood strikes. So it definitely gives him a little bit of personality, a little bit of character, and sets him apart visually from some of the other dogs on the adoption floor. He did come to us as a stray. One of our ACOs picked him up. We know his name is Ghost because he came in with a collar that says, "My name is Ghost." So we've continued to call him that. If animals do come in with a name, we always make sure to keep their name here in this facility for consistency. Sometimes they know it already. Unless those names may be detrimental to the adoption process, like a dog named Chaos or offensive. Sometimes that has happened as well. We try to keep them similar sounding if that does happen. You can always tell when you're looking at their paperwork which is a name that they came with and which is a name that we gave them, because if we gave them the name, it is going to be in quotation marks, which is, sometimes people ask that, is that their name? Well, yeah, it's been their name since Tuesday. Or no, this is the name they've always had. It's really easy if you're just looking for those quotation marks. This guy is a dog that I was a little bit nervous about at first for whatever reason. I don't know why. He just kind of looked intimidating. But then once I got in there with him, he was just like a little baby. He wants to cuddle and play. He does know sit already. He wants to, put his, chin right on your lap. So he's definitely a little bit more sensitive than I gave him credit for. And I actually think he's one of the dogs that is afraid of his corunda bed and won't get on it. So now he has a regular, stuffed dog bed because he just wasn't using that bed. Very friendly when you approach his kennel, has no issues with the other dogs, which is definitely good, but typical pit bull style, doesn't necessarily walk nice on leash, tends to jump up on people, those types of things, but also super, super affectionate and just a really loving guy with a lot of potential moving forward in the right hands.
So in his assessment, it says that he's short on manners. What assistance do we offer adopters to help with that?
Sure. So, we don't provide, training services here, but most of our adopters do get an adoption interview where we'll talk about things that are specific to the dog. When I'm doing them, I tend to talk about, how to help them walk nicely on a leash and how to prevent them from jumping up on people, how to learn, teach them impulse control, trade so that you can get objects that they shouldn't have away from them. So we go over some of those types of things. We also provide a list of trainers in our adoption packet so that they can get those types of needs met through other businesses in the area. We try to encourage people to go to force-free positive reinforcement facilities because science has shown us that that's the most effective way to train your dog. And it's the kindest way to train your dog. So we do have a list of those, and we do offer some follow-up assistance depending on what your needs are to kind of point you in the right direction. But that's we want to set you up for success, so we give you as much as we can, and then definitely the resources that you need to find help once the animal's left this facility. If you think that Ghost is going to be a good fit for your household and you want to see what he's all about, you can make an appointment to visit with him by going to visit fcac.as.me. Our last guest today is Peter Thomas, and he's slowly working his way up the ranks to, excuse you, buddy, to become a staff favorite for sure. He has the greatest smile, and he's just super sweet. When I first met him, he was a little bit nervous, and I was taking his picture, and I was in there for a couple minutes, and then all of a sudden he was like, "Oh, we just became best friends," and he gave me the best smile ever, and he was like, "All right, you're gonna pet me now." So he's a super sweet, affectionate guy. He does have a bit of a grown-up name, and while he has it on his paperwork, a lot of the dogs now actually have grown-up names. We just don't tell people. All the dogs pretty much have middle names. When Vinny was here, he was Vincent Michael. That's what we all called him. Evan is now Evan Andrew. So they all have little names, and we just happen to put Peter Thomas, his full name, on his paperwork for you. He's 1 to 2 years old. He's another one of our dogs that did come in as a stray. He is very friendly in his kennel, reacts favorably to the other dogs. He's easy to kind of get leashed up. He has a really good behavior assessment, no issues with food, no issues with object guarding either. And he's one of the rare dogs that really doesn't care if you handle his feet in his mouth, which a lot of dogs struggle and pull away, but he doesn't seem to care. He does pull a little bit on his leash, but typical for his breed. And you can also see that he is a bit of a shedder. So getting him a nice bath and brushing him on a regular basis will definitely do him some good, but he's going to make a great addition to somebody's family, and he too is recommended for children of any age. He's just a sweet guy who we can't wait to get to know a little bit better, because he really hasn't been with us that long. He got processed pretty soon after his 5-day stray hold was over. So keep following Pet Pals and all of our social media as we continue to learn more about Peter Thomas.
So Peter Thomas and Draco have something in common. What's that?
They do. They are both lap dogs. I don't know if you noticed, he tried to sit on my foot. They both want to sit on you and cuddle. So, if that's what you're looking for, and you maybe, you have kids a little bit younger than 6 and Draco's not a good fit, then maybe Peter Thomas would be. But if that's what you're looking for, that really cuddly, affectionate dog, then one of these guys would be a good option for your family. If you want to meet with Peter Thomas or any of the many dogs that we have on our adoption floor right now, the first step is always going to be to go to that booking site and make an appointment. That's going to be visit fcac.as.me. If you want to know more or make sure they're still available before you book that appointment and come in, you can always give us a call at 301-600-1546 for more information. We hope you enjoyed meeting just a handful of our adoptable dogs here on Pet Pals. We'll have more adoptable pets for you to see in our next episode.